Okay. Oh, I didn't want to minimize. Okay, so if we raise 1 million, that's what we can do. And that would mean that we go straight into, well, no matter what, the apiary guys are going to have to wait like at least a couple months to even get started, and we are going to put out quotes to other people. Like that, we have to do that, right? So that we can get a good price, especially if we only raise $1 million. But if we only raise $1 million, it'll happen faster. So like the timing roadmap, I would imagine, is like once we probably like by August, we would have some, for sure, some designs for them to work on. Because I think we need to talk with Z about this and the timing roadmaps, which is like something I hope to do this weekend. But it's kind of like he's got to do open sourcing CAD and like actual simulations and design work before the apiary guys just go for it. Like our whole sell is that we're going to do this like real engineering work, and we don't break ground on a power plant until we have like simulations done, So that's like, you're muted still.
Sorry. That's why I'm glad to hear you say that, because after the call with like Olivier and Sam, it was clear that they value having the engineering behind the system design and like want to figure out how to have that in apiary. And so I think that there's like a huge leverage point to be building something for them. So one, they take us further in the process and so already putting resources into it. Two, it leverages our fundraise because potentially we can maybe even get money from them or just work together with them to make our raise easier. And three, it gets a reference implementation for like potentially a token engineering commons that could be then used and spun up. So it's also something that then could be like job and stuff. So I see like a lot of value in that. So I want to figure out how to make that work. So I followed up with Olivier after you messaged me yesterday and just kind of pushed on like, hey, when do you want to chat again? I haven't heard back from him yet though.
Yeah. I mean, I assume he's in Paris, right? He's not in New York.
Yeah, I think he's in Paris. Yeah, he definitely is. Sam is offline or something.
I mean, I told him at Auricon that I'm so excited about apiary. And then I told him, I think it was maybe February, I had a call with him and told him, hey, you're my number one choice to do token bonding curves.
Yeah.
And I want them to do it. Like there is nobody that's even close. Like him and Billy and Deem and the whole, like especially Billy, right?
Especially Billy. Yeah.
It's kind of like if Billy says no, I'm going to start my own company. Then I'm like, well, Argon Black, I don't know, right?
Yeah. If Billy's off, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want Billy, and I want the whole crew. I want the whole crew, but Billy most of all. And if somebody, I don't want to. I want to do right and have integrity here, and I want to get votes. I want to see other people will want to do this too, and and I want there to be competition, because I think we are like, especially if we only raise $1 million, we just got to take it slow, and we got to see who has the space and time to do this, because there's Autark, another Aragon group. There's also like Alstack, like you said, and there's other independent orgs. I would like to do it on Aragon though. I think that that's the place to go for sure, especially since it's very likely we would do an Aragon DAO. But for the $1 million thing, it would be a package deal with whoever we get to do the token bonding curve.
Yeah, that's what I think it would. I think it would be like finding someone who has the resources to then build the implementation, and we're building the reference part of it. You know what I mean? And it's still something that completely open source, done under our wing, if you will, but it's something done together. And I think that there's that's what I'll push for Apiary, and I think that that's something that they want. And so I'm just going to validate that need with them and try to push that conversation.
For sure they want. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Billy's probably one of the number one players in.
Yeah, to like push
CAD
for it too. Like, and he's in the CAD beta. You know what I mean? Like, he knows his value, and it's cool because we've only kind of seeded it. It's not even like we've been pushing it on them a long time. Like, even with Billy. So like when we come back and we're like, hey, this is the ask. This is what we want it to be. It could be. I think it'll land really well, and they'll be really open to it.
I mean, I'm happy to be on the side of pain, for sure. But we have to. We really have to find. We have to talk to 3 groups. So make sure that they know that too. And
who? Sorry, talk to
3 groups. We can't offer it to Apiary. Like that's
no, 100%.
So yeah. And Argon 1. Who knows? Maybe Argon 1 wants to do it. Luke.
Yeah, and like the Diorg people, like Jordan from Diorg, who hacked with us at they're now working with DXDAO, and they're looking into bonding curve stuff. You know, like everybody is kind of here, and I just think that there's so much value. So
I imagine that we would put it out to all 3 Argon groups.
Yeah.
Autark, Argon 1, and Argon Black. And we would put it out to Diorg. I think that's and DXDAO.
I think that'd be perfect. And I think that I've already been shilling, and I've been seeing Diorg guys like every day, and I've been shilling them super, super, super hard on it, and got them. And like Kevin Owaki is also like, wow, this is what's necessary. So I showed Kevin Owaki Dap Lion's parameters app that he put together, and he's like, I need this. This is what I need. If I'm thinking about launching a token, potentially on a bonding curve or whatever as a platform, like this is the stuff that I need. And I'm like, and then imagine that this is backed by math, so you can actually do this in real time and not be fucking scared. You know what I mean? And backed by science. And he was like totally on board. And he's like, how much does he need? You know? And I was like, you know, like to open source CAD is one thing, but also to build this reference implementation is another. So like he's like ready to stay interested. You know what I mean? Like this could be like Moloch, you know, or Means interested in bonding curves. Like there's tons of opportunity.
Yeah, no, Kevin's been blazing the block reward trail, right?
Yeah.
And this is just right up. This is what this solves,
yeah.
right?
So I had like a really good like level set with him on like, wow, this is everything that's happened. And so now he's like in a really good place to like stay updated. AKA like when we send things, he can push it to like Gitcoin or something. Like maybe that the part of the raise is a Gitcoin grant. Like there's like a ton of ways that we can interact with him. So that's really good.
Absolutely. Okay, so if we only raise 1 million, that's all we can do. All we can do is token bonding curve and like off the shelf DAO and no give it. If we raise 1.5 million, we can do way better. Like the 1 million is like our documentation is going to be like probably even worse than normal documentation. You know, like in crypto, it'll just be whatever we build it. If we raise 1.5 million, we're going to put way more money into open sourcing CAD. We're going to put a lot more money into documenting token bonding curves, like probably hiring someone just to write out all the information on token bonding curves and all that. And then with the DAO, we can actually build a little bit more infrastructure and probably, and especially when it relates to integrating with Given. So if we raise 1.5 million, then we can actually have like an escrow framework. Because right now, all these DAOs, it's like, okay, here's the money, and there's no accountability or anything after it.
Yeah.
So,
at all.
Yeah, it's pathetic. So then Giveth will get revamped and can go on the same chain as where the token bonding curves go, which I still expect to be XDAI. And then and also we can do a lot more community management and project management. You know, we can I mean, it's going to require to these different parts and different teams. It would still be like the one team doing both the DAO and the token bonding curve. But there would be a lot more work that we can do, and then also there would be the Giveth team. and so there will be like a little extra coordination and communicate and community, and we can put a little bit more money into community management.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that sounds good. I think that makes sense. Definitely. So.
And I'm just gonna keep going for the. So that's 1.5 mil. 2 mil is again. Actually, with 2 mil, we can do conviction voting. So basically, everything is the same as with 1.5 mil, but now we can do conviction voting, and we can get a second. We can get a new team. We can get another team involved to do conviction voting. I would imagine. I would actually, my favorite team. Well, my favorite team is Argonne 1, but my second favorite team is Autark, right? Or Level K. This Level K would be great if they have the space and time, or Autark, and then also we could, but like basically whoever we pick, we have to put out quotes to all the groups and get them all back and combine them, because we really can't go cross-platform. If we're going to use, this is what sucks about decentralized onto my platform. You know, we can't just plug in easily DXDAO and DAO stack into Argonne. Like they don't. It'd be a shit show.
Yeah.
But if we need to raise $2 million to do conviction voting, basically, and it would be a very basic version of conviction voting that we would iterate off of. So we can still, and we have Giveth, and we have like project management is going to increase in basically having another team increases project management, it increases community management a little bit, travel costs and all these things, but yeah. And cool. Then if we raise 2.5 million, which is like the real like, okay, now we can really do everything.
Yeah.
We can do a way better job at conviction voting.
Yeah.
And we can build, like with the token bonding curve on the raise 1 million, there's no extra user interface. You know, it's like, here it is in Argonne DAO, deal with it.
Exactly.
If we raise 1.5 million, then we can actually build some extra websites. And the Argonne DAO is like the engine in the background, but we can provide user experience through other websites or like just a page just for buying and selling. Like, have you seen the Unisocks exchange?
Yeah.
Right? Like they have it's a great user experience, right? Yeah. Buy, sell, here's the price right now. Don't worry about the details, right? Now, I would like to see an advanced tab that they can click and, you know, some people can do it. But if you just want to go buy and sell, go buy and sell.
Yeah.
Simple and mobile friendly, right? We need to be, and like, if we raise 1.5 mil, we can be mobile first on token bonding curves, right? And this is the same for, but then we can't on conviction voting. If we raise 2 mil, we can't be mobile first. But if we raise 2.5, we can really put it out there, and we can go for extreme user experience, and we can be mobile first, and we can like try to like build something that people will like using. Like that's the dream.
Yeah, totally. Like the Alchemy app, almost kind of a little bit that people can mess around with.
Yeah, exactly. And we can also put way more money into open sourcing CAD and developing courses and like extremely good documentation, and like basically if we raise 1 million, you know, I think what's his face, Zargam can hire like 2 people for CAD. If we raise 1.5 or 2, he can hire 3. If we raise 2.5 million, he can hire a 4th person just to work on CAD and really kick it out, right?
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah. Oh, then they have a full team and like documentation, courses. You know, it'll be epic. Like 2.5 mil is what we need, like to do everything you want.
Yeah.
And if we have 3 mil, So 2.5 mil gets us, mobile first on all of our designs, including Giveth. It gets us because 2 mil is also not mobile first for Giveth, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll try, but probably not. 2.5 gives us everything we want, and 3 million gives us even more. Right? We go wild. But the biggest benefit of 3 million is that we can hire a couple people for post maintenance.
Yeah.
And we can we can just go nuts if we get 3 mil. And if we get 4 mil, which I'm honestly thinking we should put the cap at 4 mil, debate to advisors this. If we get 4 mil, then we can we get to really go wild with post management. We can do a lot of cool stuff happens at 3 mil on the legal side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So
it boosts up. What is the difference?
Well, one of the things that we want to do on the legal stuff is create a DAO in Switzerland, like legal identities for DAOs in Switzerland. And so if we get 3 mil, we can really push that. We're going to push it anyway, but I want to underpromise, overdeliver. That's we're going to try to do all of this stuff anyway, but it's likely the scope will get cut, right? Because we just won't have the money. But if we could raise 3 million, that's the big milestone. Is we're going to try to push hard on creating legal identities for DAOs in Switzerland, so that the Token Engineering Commons can actually just be like a Swiss association. And the Ethereum address, it will have the same rights as any association in Switzerland, without having to file paperwork, right? So that's that dream there. And if we raise 4 million, then it's kind of like the same thing where it's I'm surprised that didn't go up. 4 million and 5 million, it's like there's just so much extra money that I think we'll coast. We'll just have a lot of buffer, and we'll be able to raise, we'll be able to handle any kind of issues. And honestly, if we raise 4 or 5 mil, I don't think people would like this, but I would even consider doing our own chain.
Interesting.
And talking to Parity. Yeah, and using Parity substrate and getting and really trailblazing this idea of chain, DApp specific side chains, because there's a lot of benefits there. A lot of this, all the math stuff that we do, it would be so much easier. Everything would be easier.
For Commons DAOs, is what you're saying? For the bonding curves, each bonding curve would be on this DApp specific. DApp as in the Commons sidechain, or each one would be on their own sidechain that work with each other?
A Commons sidechain. There's no reason.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and it would be really powerful. What Parity is working on with their substrate stuff is really sick. It's really powerful tech, and I would love to examine that. Aragon was already examining it, so I would love to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And it would make so much stuff easier. We could build it in Rust, and we can do math, and we can do, we don't have to worry about Solidity or even Viper and all the fucking bullshit. We can just be here's the client, and here are the functions that this client can call. And so you extract the Solidity out, and you build the chain that you need. It's but yeah, I honestly, I don't feel comfortable talking about that for 5
years.
Definitely
not yet. That's something to keep. Let's get the bonding curve shit done first.
I'm almost thinking we should just say, hey, max we need is 4 mil, and we cut out the 5 mil.
And I think for now, I think that, it seems that 2.5, when I look at this, it seems like the 2.5 is kind of the sweet spot of where we're getting everything done to a good level that it can be worked upon and iterated upon, and contributed to. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like that's like the production ready, like that's beyond MVP. That's like production, right? And so like, but I also see that maybe there's, I mean, when we're talking about investment timelines, right? So we can go out and we can try to do the full 2.5, but we can also maybe make it 2 steps. And like this one be this 1 million / depending on like what relationships we can get with like Apiary or any of the other Aragon teams or like DAO Stack. We take a first step, which is the development of the reference implementation, get some money in the door to kind of set the seeds, which could probably be like 500 to 1 million or something, right? And then take the next step.
I really don't think we can even. We cannot undertake this for less than. I mean, we can. Like, if we don't raise $1 million, we're fucked. I just don't think that we can pull off. We would have to cut open sourcing CAD.
No, and that's like not, we can't do that. Yeah. Okay. So it's 1 million. I just meant like taking the 2.5 million raise in 2 steps or something. You know what I mean? And doing the first one and then the second one. The first one for the token bonding curve reference implementation. Potentially, this is just a suggestion. And then the second one for we're launching the token engineering commons with this that we already built. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff. But also we can push it together and all of that. So just was a suggestion.
Yeah. I mean. So the other tab in this spreadsheet is interesting as well, which I think is kind of where what you're thinking about, and
yeah.
So this is about how do we build the wall and what does it mean? So the current thoughts on this are that advisors and basically anyone whose face is on the website, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can buy in at 4x. Before June 3rd, and then anyone who's but it has to be before June 3rd, because we need this money now, right? But then they get 4x on the whitelist.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have until June 30th. What my plan was to like save us all. Like, I mean. You know, everyone has jobs, or everyone needs money. Everyone has jobs. Everyone has expectations, right? I want to make a big push in June and just be like, this is our month. And if we don't raise $1 million by June 30th, we give the money back. And I'll eat some costs for sure. But like, I want to be able to do this for real. Otherwise, you know, Block Science needs to regroup and figure out what they're going to do, how to get money out of CAD. You know, we all need to regroup and actually put our focuses back to where they're supposed to be. You know, so. And
also, if it's not going to happen in June after all of this like momentum behind it and like where the industry is, then it's just not going to happen. You know.
Yeah, exactly, dude. After this race, like the best thing happened to us that I could have imagined. Ether went to 50. Like.
Jump on the token engineering call for like 5 minutes just to sync it up.
Okay, no worries. And no rush, Jeff.
Okay, cool. You want to miss out on important narrative stuff?
No. Yeah. And then what I was thinking is, hey, you get 3x on the whitelist if you put money in before June 30th. Otherwise, you get all the money back.
Yeah.
And I think that that's such a good sell, right? And I have more integrity than anyone in this space on that being real. So like I feel like that's really easy. And then if we get $1 million before June 30th, then like, you know, then it's 2x until we reach 3 million.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's like kind of like a progressive fundraising strategy, like kind of like a progressive campaign almost that is trying to reach different fundraising goals. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe we move that down to 2.5 million, you know, and then have it be and have it be until cap 1x, right? And the cap is 4.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. I'm comfortable with that. That's a really good breakdown too. We could probably add some more detail if we wanted this to be like a fundraising document to send to investors, you know what I mean? To see, just be transparent with budget. But I think it's really good. So
yeah, I'm hoping
yeah,
the reason I wanted to live stream it is because I can talk it through. But yeah, I want to write down all of this stuff. Like, I'm better at talking than writing. And so if I can just listen to myself talk, honestly, I can rewrite it and put it in a document. And that I'm going to put that just all the like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4, you know.
Yeah, and it could be nice, and I can help once you get that into writing, I can help clean it up and turn it into like a formal document that then could be sent and communicated to people. This is what the raise is, you know.
Nice.
Yeah,
and
I just like a timeline diagram.
milestone,
You know what I mean? Like a timeline diagram that can go even on like the GitHub wiki, or like, you know, it can go anywhere. It can just say this is the goals.
yeah, you can make things so pretty. It's so nice.
No, Marco.
It's like, oh, that's garbage. Oh yeah, Marco can do it.
So Marco has
even
more picture too, by the way. He's working it through to try to figure out how we can make it pretty. He's just been super busy this week.
The slides.
The one pager and the slides, yeah, the half of the slides to get like an initial like design while we have him.
Nice.
So we'll hopefully get something from, which is good.
That's epic. That is epic. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's look at these other documents really quick while we have the time, so I can just tell you what's changed. You know, the overview got really long. We need to trim it down, especially since now it's going to change a lot with the token engineering common stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I let people edit it, and then everyone just kept adding things, and no one has the confidence to delete anything. So
yeah, totally.
You know,
I'll go through and do a last review, and then try to incorporate everything, and maybe make a couple more edits. But it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just too long. Like it's and no one's gonna read this, so it needs to be trimmed down, especially since we're gonna want to add a bunch of token engineering content. And then we have, but yeah, so that's a quick overview, and then we have a really good document that Jeff just started. I haven't even touched, called the FAQ, which I really want to lean on because I feel like that's what people really want to see. Like, no one has time. They want to see their questions answered, you know? And so if we just have this running FAQ that people can just like look at the questions that they have, and like, so it's super skimmable, and I think that's what everyone will read.
Yeah, completely agree.
Hello.
Hey.
Coach B!
What's up?
I'm jumping in here, and Stefan is here as well.
Hey!
In the same house.
You know, I always forget that you're Stefan Ponnet, right?
Yeah.
I always think your last name's Sponnet.
Yeah. That's how you know me.
Exactly, dude. You're like Madonna or Fabio, you know? You just one word.
It's like my artist's name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm so excited to be able to talk about the token engineering commons in our pitches. Like, can we talk about that? Like, how do we want to frame it? And
yeah, so you read the terms and conditions, so we're pretty open to what we can do, you know, and to that we're even talking sometimes about investments and stuff. So, but this is, since we clearly distinguish between the association and the involvement in there, and the DAO at the end, because that's how I always call it, the DAO, because it's really the topic is that it needs to be decentralized. You know, it needs to have a decentralized governance, because then nobody is liable. I mean, then or the system is liable for it. You know, that's the good part. And even the SEC is looking at it like this now. You know, even they have come to the conclusion that if it's decentralized, if there's like nobody's owning it and has influence on it like a single entity, then it's not a liability. So that's pretty cool, I think. And that's the way Switzerland looked at it like a long time already. But even the SEC is coming out with that kind of definition.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about it, especially with conviction voting, you know, every individual kind of puts their vote behind a topic. And if we really want to talk about liability, you know, there could be like, if you vote for something that's bad, you know, like we can see that. And I don't know, is that like a concern or?
No, the concern on liability is actually that if you can still divert this liability if there's like 10 people that say this is how it should be, then you have to go after 10 people, and if they're in 10 different jurisdictions, it's impossible. So it's not going to happen then. And you can, if I'm one person that is in the US and the SEC goes after me, I can always say no. It's I made decisions with 9 other people. I mean, it's a combination. So it's really something. If you keep it decentralized, it's a pretty good system to stay away from liabilities.
I mean, just to like put in just a little challenge, right? Like if let's say that someone starts a decentralized starts a comment around helping, you know, rescue pets, and someone puts up a proposal that says, hey, you know, fund me, I want to break into a lab and like you know, rescue the animals that are being tested on. I think that a government would, you know, be like, okay, that's a cool DAO and all, that's great, but guess what? These people funded this group to do something illegal, and we're going to go after them because they can't do that.
But at the end, it's the person doing the illegal stuff, not you funding them. I mean, yes, they get the funding for that, but the thing is, if all people that fund that are in one jurisdiction, yes, then you're in trouble. Or even if the majority is in one jurisdiction, then this majority can be in trouble. Yes, but if you
well, what I would say is that, you know, probably going to be the other people that are part of that DAO wouldn't be affected, you know.
Yeah.
At least this is just I think how our governance works. It's a special thing because it's not like majority vote, right? It's like you have this much token weight, and you can use that token weight to fund individual decisions, and so it's the sensor fusion as Zargam calls it, and Kai, but maybe we're getting too much into details here.
Yeah, no, and I want to solve this DAO issue anyways. I want to create this solution where we have a DAO entity, and where there's specific rules, and we will have like indicators that show you if there's too many people from one jurisdiction in your DAO, then you should try to get more people from another jurisdiction involved. You know, so it's like a risk balancing thing that we will have in there. You know, just to inform people, not to say you need to be, if you want to stay illegal, you know, in the legal way, you should do this. No, but it's just informing you. Here's a risk. You know, that one jurisdiction could grab you and ask for taxes, for example, or you know, stuff like that. Don't if you want to avoid this risk, you can do this and this. And this is what I'm working on with this one lawyer as well. So it's we call it the stateless registry, because it's for companies that are stateless, you know, that don't have are not assigned to one jurisdiction. And so it's not even only for DAOs, you know, it could be a centralized company, but they don't want to be in one country, assigned to one country, because they might work in several countries. So, but this is not the topic here today. But I'm just saying I'm working on this solution for DAO anyways, because I think it's really necessary, and we need that. We need this as well for our DAO. But anybody that creates a DAO should be part of that, or should use that tool.
We need to talk about the budget on that, because I'm excited to incorporate it into our roadmap on budget. But like you said, this is for a later topic, FutureBox, but near FutureBox. Let's go into how do we frame it fair. Like, what would be a bad thing to say about the token engineering? Like, how do I fuck up? You know, like, oh, the Common Stack's building the token engineering commons. I'm gonna launch it, and we're gonna make a shit ton of money, guys. High fives.
Well, the shit ton of money is something you shouldn't say, but you can make a shit ton of money. I mean, speaking to other people, not you. But no, the thing that we should be careful about is not that we communicate that that we will build this DAO, but that at the end we might not build it because of certain restrictions or technical difficulties or any other reason that we shouldn't promise something set in stone that at some point might break, you know, and for whatever reasons we don't have in mind. We really want to build this, but anything can happen that prevents us from doing that. So this is why we always say that there's no right on this part, because we don't know the future. That's the point. It's not that we don't want to create that, but we still simply don't know the future. You know, the internet breaks down, or I don't know what. World War Z comes. You know.
Okay. So, what do you think about what I sent you before about how you know, we can't guarantee that a commons is generated, but like we're hoping that like maybe we can even say we'd like to lead the token engineering community in creating a commons. Like, could we say that?
You know, why would we say it in this way? Why wouldn't we say we put everything we sort of let me find that part, because I think it's mentioned in here. It's mentioned in here. Because we're pretty precise on what you can do in the live phase, and we want to build this live phase. So so the live phase.
I definitely want to hear any guidelines on what we can say and not say. Is that what you guys are?
Yeah,
like,
that's what we're
the whole
discussing.
topic is.
Yeah. During the initialization phase, all the members of the association have the possibility to invest as a maximum the same amount as they donated or paid in membership fees during the build phase in favor of the association. Yeah. Is it, so basically we can say, but can we say that we're going to launch it? Because that's what I'm...
Is that a promise? And then we don't want to go into promise.
I think we do mention that in the beginning.
Where did you pull that text from, Griff? Is that written down somewhere that you copied in here, or did you just write that right now?
I wrote it in a chat to Bernd a little bit ago. I
can give you the link to the document. Don't worry.
We're reading. Yeah, we're reading. I can send the link. We're reading out of the Common Stack terms and conditions.
I just put them in there. In the Telegram.
So I thought I heard that that investor was a term we should shy away from, and here I'm seeing like just that paragraph that Griff just read. It's like the term used is they have the possibility to invest rather than like donate or support. So I don't know, is invest or invest a bad word?
Exactly, but that's because we separate the association from the the DAO or from the live phase. So we have the build phase, which is the association, and you don't invest into the association, you pay a membership fee. So there's no investment into the association. But after that, we create a decentralized platform that you can use for investments. And that's fine. Because that goes, at that point, we issue tokens and we go into an investment phase, and that's totally fine. But if you have a decentralized organization, it's what I was just referring to. If it's decentralized, the liability is not on a single person or an entity. It's not available, so to speak.
So we can use words like investor and making investment in regards to the live phase DAO.
Yes.
And we can use it. Can we use those words as members of the build phase association, but like not talking about our association, talking about the future, like, you know, different entity that's existing? Or is it still like weird territory for representatives of the association to say that?
No, because anybody on the whitelist, this includes members of the association as well, because we all by being member of the association, you end up on the whitelist. And the whitelist are the people that can invest into the DAO.
Yeah.
I still think invest word is just a naughty word that we should probably not try to say. I think it's cool that we got a lawyer to actually say that was okay, but it scares me.
Okay, that's not a problem. I mean, we can downscale sort of support.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, support or something. You know, because even just if as a crypto person, if I read this, it's like, oh, what, you don't know the game? You can't say that. You know, I might even just think that, even if it's not true, you know, for if I put myself in somebody's shoes who might read these terms and conditions, one of the token engineering guys, they're gonna be like, whoa, man, these guys are ballsy.
Yeah.
Do they have a lawyer? You know?
So here's a sentence. Sorry, but here's a sentence that says what we will do. So the first output of the project will be a production-ready, fully simulated, engineered system that can be implemented to launch, sustain, and govern a continuous funded digital economy that can interface with the real world and with minimal risk. So that is the output. That is the end result we want to create. And this means it's not it's a product we release into a DAO. So that, to me, that is what we can always say to any of the people we want to attract to become a member.
Okay.
That we're building a product that will be released into a DAO, and from there it can be.
Well, we're building a product, but the product isn't released to a DAO. The product can be used to make a DAO, right? To make a commons.
Well, I think that we definitely can be, and at the end it can be forked. But actually, I think we really create a DAO with a token, a bonding curve, conviction voting, and a giveth milestone system in place.
Yeah, because like I think what Coach B was saying, that like we release ownership of the product to this DAO that's the live phase DAO, right? Like, and yes, it's also, the product is a tool to build DAOs.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, the product is going to be governed and owned by a DAO.
But building other DAOs just means you fork whatever we produce, you fork and you change some parameters, and then you have a different tool or a different purpose of that you want to run this for, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, because so for example, the whitelist we create, if you fork the first product, you will also use the same whitelist if you want to, you know, that you take it with you through the fork. And that's the benefit that we also sell to, or can explain to people, is that this whitelist is part of the whole product that we create. And if somebody forks this product, he also creates or takes the whitelist with him and can use it.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Okay.
it's really a benefit, because you don't have to go through KYC AML again. You can just invest into the next solution or offering that somebody creates if you want to.
So I'm feeling still a little bit like cautious on this. Yeah, I guess because it's not what you're saying, or if maybe let me repeat what I'm hearing and see if it's true. You're saying that we can say, hey, we're going to build the reference implementation, and then we're going to create a token engineering commons that the people who helped us build the reference implementation, they can buy into, members of the association, and they can invest, and they can actually bootstrap token engineering research. I can say all of that.
Yes, because we strictly there's a strict line between the investment or the membership fee and the investment into the token bonding curve. There is nobody is forced to do it, and no money is used, or actually we could even use some money, but the investors still have to invest again into this DAO, and this is a different entity then. It's like you're creating a decentralized exchange. I mean, at the end, you can create a decentralized exchange, and the only liability you would create is if you have a business model integrated into the decentralized exchange that goes back to you. That's what the first Ether, no, what was it called? I don't know. Ether Delta. The mistake that Ether Delta did was the business model integration into Ether Delta. If he would have just let people do this and create his own token or sell his own token on it, that would have been fine.
And which lawyers have signed off on this?
It's the Ethereum Foundation lawyer. So it's the lawyer that is on the board of the Ethereum Foundation.
Is it Patrick?
Patrick Storchenegger.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, I think it's wild. I don't know. How do you guys? Because to me, it sounds like a SAF, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what I told him, and he said no, it's not, because you strictly there's no investment from the people into your product into going into the DAO. It's another investment. It's a second round of investment that goes into that, and the first one is not an investment. We should never say people invested into the association. So that's the only time I wouldn't say investment.
Okay. Well, I will say, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I feel like partly a problem here is that, like, when's the actual cases for this? Interviews, right? Like, or moments when people are on stage or whatever, they're like talking up the project, and like these interviews get cut and chopped, and sometimes like words get hashed together. Like, I can totally imagine this scenario where Griff like says, all this like slightly dangerous stuff that he says, but he says it in the right way, right? Like to make sure there's like the line and the distinction between the build phase and the live phase. But then when editors go and chop up the video, like the end product becomes this thing that is misleading to consumers, and maybe makes them actually think that by buying into the build phase, they are buying in and investing into like this product that's offered, like and yeah. So I definitely see a reason for
but everybody at the end, everybody that becomes a member has to sort of check that you read the terms and conditions, and that's the point where you go into an agreement. Because this is where they accept the terms and conditions, and we describe exactly what we do and what we sort of offer and all the risks involved. Like technology breaks down. Ethereum is not working anymore. this whole thing breaks down. Then we cannot build what we promised. That's not our fault, but it's still not being built. And that's part of the terms and conditions. It's mentioned there. All the risks that can happen, all the things that can happen are mentioned in there. And whatever you said before is, yes, they can cut it to certain things you would never want to say, but they make it sound like it's the investment of your life. You have to pay into this DAO, into this association and then get tokens from the DAO, something like that. They make it cut like that. But the terms and conditions are the agreement you accept, and it's not the interview, not the video part. Only if terms and conditions are not clear, and you can sort of take, or you can read the same part in the terms and conditions as was sort of cut together, then you have a problem, and that's not good. But those terms and conditions are really pretty clear.
I mean, I would say we should try to make that line as clear as possible between the Token Engineering Commons and the association, Common Stack Association, and anything that we can do to make that line super clear, we should do, right? Like, we were talking about bonuses going in the token bonding curve. I think just like if we're going to go with this narrative, which I know will work, like if we say, yeah, we're building the Token Engineering Commons, like that's such a powerful thing to say, and people be like, okay, they're on the fence, they're on the whatever. They have to build the Token Engineering Commons, or they have to try at least. I think that makes this raise like 5 times easier. So
no, and we can do this. So even the bonus, I talked to about the bonus as well, and even the bonus would be possible that we put it into the bonding curve and then pay it out. But I totally agree. I wouldn't do that, because to me that's sort of a gray zone we enter. So I would give the bonus as a DAI or whatever currency we want to give to the projects or to the people, and then they invest that into the bonding curve, because then we're really clear on the association never invested into the token bonding curve. I would really try to keep that as clear as possible. That's true.
And then the other thing is just the narrative of like, I don't want to ever say investing. It's just a dirty word in this space. And also just even when I say it, I feel like a shyster. So I don't want to say investing. And then even though we can, right? And then just, I don't know. I would like to hear Abby and Jeff's opinion and Lorelai's opinion on like whether or not we should really say we're going to build the Token Engineering Commons, or if we should say we're going to lead the development of, lead the community-based development of the Token Engineering Commons. Like,
I think that's a more realistic thing to say, because saying we are building it, I mean, it is not a siloed endeavor. This is a community endeavor. We will use the tools produced by the Common Stack Association to lead the community development of a Token Engineering Commons as a higher level incentive around the community of researchers pushing this industry forward.
Yeah.
Abby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that separating it out like that makes sense. I think that I was pushing for the Token Engineering Commons originally for that collective, community development. But there is like the concept of like we need to build the tools for it first. And instead of promising the Token Engineering Commons before the tools are built, with the raise, you could still keep the Token Engineering Commons in the in the sites of the raise, right, in the timeline, and use that to incentivize people, but taking it as like, we're building the tools for it first to enable it, I think is probably the best route to go. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how this looks, like how we communicate everything that was just said, in form.
Yeah, but I think it sounds really good. Yeah.
Sorry, there's a bit of a lag.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just got off the call with Jonathan not too long ago and ran through that kind of multiplier pitch for him. And he within 10 minutes he was understanding and following, but he still had some kind of follow-up questions, which I said were outside of the current explainer. But a lot of his questions were kind of investor focused. So and I'm curious what we can say around these lines when we're saying, okay, your first contribution is a donation to the Common Stack Association for us to build these tools. That donation will allow you the opportunity to philanthropically invest, like a philanthropic investment into Commons efforts, such as the Token Engineering Commons. Now, he is interested and he thinks that the people that, other than like the insane researchers that would just put money down to see if this works, everyone wants to know what their returns could be. I mean, we know from our kind of back of the napkin parameters that when you invest into a hatch at 1 cent and at the end of the hatch it's 4 cents, I mean, yeah, we can say it's 3 to 4x, but we have no idea really how the curve is going to behave beyond that. How do we walk that line of saying, we do expect this to be a lucrative investment opportunity without putting either, numbers or legal issues at stake?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So I just have, instead of saying philanthropically invest, I would say initiate a token bonding curve, be part of the hatch phase. Like initiate a token bonding curve is really fucking hot. Okay. Like when I think about initiating a token bonding curve, I'm like, oh baby. Oh my God, really? I get to initiate it? Boom, baby. Like that's exciting. And
do you think everyone knows that?
Our audience, yes.
And yeah, I think we should completely shy away from the word philanthropically.
Yeah.
And it's not really accurate to the opportunity.
And the other piece, as far as like we need to do it, but we can actually stick with parameters. We can pick these parameters. I worked with Zargham long and hard to make sure that we can pick a buy price and a sell price, right? So, a buy price and a price at post hatch. And yes, we don't know what happens to the curve afterwards, but what we do know is that all the tokens are locked. So afterwards, you basically have a free token bonding curve where people will want to buy. Like that's for sure. We don't have to predict that. People will want to buy in because they know they can't sell. No one else can sell tokens. So it's like you're initiating a token bonding curve twice, right? So the free market's going to want it. So we can say, yes, at this price, yes, you will get tokens of value at this price, and we don't know exactly what the curve will be like. It depends on the raise, but for sure people will want to buy it. So it will.
So should we say that like there's a 4x potential in initiating a bonding curve?
I don't think we can ever promise that, right, Baron? We can't ever say.
No, I wouldn't promise that. If you can say that the curve is designed to go from this to this, because that's in the smart contract. This is like you can say this will happen, but only if people invest into it, because the investment part is part of it. It's the volume also accelerates the price, as I understand. It's not that if only 10,000, if the initialization phase needs 1 million and only 10,000 is invested, then it ends there. It ends where whatever you invested in. So we can only show the math. I wouldn't show like what the outcome is of your money investing into it. Like you invest 10,000, you get 40,000 out. No, we don't do that. Everybody can do his own math. We just say the curve starts here, and at this phase, it ends from our perspective, but then it's open to whatever the market mechanism provides. It's really the open market, and at the end.
Is that in your deep dive article, Abby, by any chance? That instantiation math?
Yeah, that I think that the return rates on like different parameters is in the deep dive.
Yeah, and we have
Cool.
DAppLions. We have DAppLions tool, which
Yeah, we should lean into that tool more and use that in our narrative, because when people are able to play around with it and see it, like I'm telling you, it's really, really helpful.
oh yeah, it's sexy.
So that's how you back up the graph of the return rate, and we could probably merge them together and create that to be something like a dynamic piece of narrative of like what it looks like to actually instantiate the curve. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, if we can start talking token engineering commons, then we can raise, as I feel like we can basically we can't guarantee returns, but we can play with the whole market cap illusion and allow people to get in assets of more value than they put in originally, even with the double donation, right? So yeah, I think this is a huge pivot, but it's an easy win. You know, before I felt like we were running around trying to raise money with both hands tied behind our backs.
Yeah, exactly.
With being able to say that we will lead the community, the token engineering community, to launch the token engineering commons with these parameters is like that's just like, yeah, here, shut up, take my money, you know. It's like so okay, because I don't know, what do you guys think about that distinction of like, we're building the token engineering commons, which is really nice, but we're going to lead the collaborative effort to build the token engineering commons?
I think that's really nice. I think that's going to be really great, and I think people are going to be able to get their heads around it and be more open to it, because then we're all leading towards a singularity of the token engineering commons that then everybody will be a part of. And so they're almost contributions with this, you know, this value proposition lands, contributions will come from a place of, this is getting started, but this is part of a bigger picture, not so constrained and siloed to like one specific thing. And I think it gives us the opportunity to kind of work and prove ourselves as well, without like promising too much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was really helpful stuff, Baron. Do you have anything else for us?
No. I'm really happy that the lawyers saw this distinction between the association and the live phase as the main topic, why it's not a security. So, because we never hand out tokens. Again, we never hand out tokens through the association. By becoming a member, you don't get tokens because of that. You get tokens because you invest into the live phase. But only members are investing early into the live phase. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling that if we asked 10 lawyers in Switzerland about this, a minority would agree. But there aren't 10 lawyers in Switzerland. There are barely 10 lawyers in Switzerland that could even make a statement that matters. So
no, and it's a very explicit statement, because I really asked him exactly those things. Like this, to me, this sounds. It does sound like a SAFT, you know, and he said no, because you don't give out tokens at the end. People invest again to receive tokens. You know,
would he be willing? Would he be interested in being an official advisor on this?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. It's not Patrick himself. He got a younger lawyer that is really deep into this topic. It's Raphael. He commented on some of these statutes and stuff like that already. If I ask him, I think he would be very happy to do that.
I would really like him to have some skin in the game, and also would be willing to. Yeah, because if he's willing to put his face on this website, that makes me feel like confident that we're real deal. Because, like, you know, that's the lawyer game, right? Like, if they give bad legal advice, then they get in trouble. So
Yeah, but I already have like his emails. He really explains we can do this, and he and Patrick both said we can sleep well with this decision. So there's nothing, we don't have any worries on that. So pretty good.
Well, I would much rather have Patrick as an advisor than the young lawyer, but either one will take what we can get. And
yeah, I know that, I know what you're saying, but actually I think it's we should give the young lawyer the respect for that too, and add him to it, because it's really, he did most of the work, and he's really into that. He knows things better than Patrick. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
maybe both.
I will ask him. Sure.
Yeah, because especially with the push, you're trying to push this DAO thing, and because I do want to have that as an option in the narrative. Having a couple lawyers on our website would be really helpful.
Okay, sure. I mean, the other part is the DAO entity system that I'm creating is with a different lawyer, and if you want to have more lawyers, I'm pretty sure I can find, or I can ask him too. He's really into that topic, getting a stateless entity set up, and the DAO is a stateless entity. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, Abby, Jeff, but I feel way more confident about our raise with this kind of thing, and I feel like we can spend more money on lawyers with that kind of confidence.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to I've been trying to figure out how to get this all written up in in that terms and conditions kind of, but maybe more so clearly of what this actually is, you know what I mean? Because I think that this is going to just require that extra form of communication that gets everybody on board. I mean, I feel like it's super, I mean, it's definitely validating, and it's definitely adds more security and legitimacy to us going out and talking about the token engineering commons. But it's good to kind of just find ways to over communicate it to the people that we're going to be getting involved.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that Raphael is also willing to look at documents that we create. So he's
that's good. Yeah,
he's willing to do that. But I'll ask him for both. I'll ask him to maybe get more involved overall into the narrative, and that we really communicate this properly, and also in the getting on the advisory part, being an advisor.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Okay. Well, guys, I kind of want to just end with some action steps, if that's cool.
Yeah.
I think we can spend 10 minutes on action steps. I'm going to try to take notes.
Action steps, someone trying to write up that whole conversation, that whole distinction on the legal side in a paragraph that we could add as really just that's an FAQ. You know what I mean? That's another FAQ.
Well, I can only say that the terms and conditions shouldn't. I mean, we can change some minor things, and we can change the description of what we build.
Yeah,
that's part of the narrative that you're still working on. So I've taken the latest version that I had, but at the end, it needs to be the final version needs to be in there. Other than that, you can take these wordings and use them in any FAQ part as well.
Okay.
So everything we defined already, what do you invest in? What is the return of your support? Not investment. It's your membership fee and stuff like that. So
okay, cool.
You can take it from there.
Okay, I will move.
I can quickly say what I will. So I will create the form for members to apply.
Nice.
So the membership form that we then so this is before they go through KYC, because this is just that we accept them as members, and then they go through KYC and pay the fee, and that's done by Mont Pelerin. So, and I'm in contact with Mont Pelerin to see the cost that they might occur or not when we integrate them into our website.
There are some. Just on that, Jeff created a form and I edited a little bit, just some questions that we'd like to add to that form, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So I guess that's me. I'll talk to you about the form.
Which form? This is the member questionnaire form.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind. Asking sort of if you want to apply for membership, you hit the button on the website which says application form for membership or something like that, and then this Google form shows up, and you put in your name, your email address, and information we want to have from this person, and then we decide. Sort of, he sends it to us. We decide, yes, we accept you as a member. I mean, still pending on your actual payment of the membership fee, but that's sort of the process I see. And if you have any specific questions on that, sure, we can do this in one form.
Yeah, exactly. Might as well. Can also, I'm putting these action steps in the Common Stack quick overview. So if there's anything you guys want to write down really quick or paste in there, go for it. I definitely want to make a few more. It's just at the bottom of that Common Stack overview doc. I'll make a notes doc over this call after this. So that's unless someone else wants to do that. But I can take that one on.
Where are you writing this, Griff? Sorry.
At the bottom, not quite the bottom, I guess, but yeah, at the bottom
I did.
yeah, there was an extra page all of a sudden, so it didn't become the bottom for very long. Let's see.
I can go. I need to go through that. What is it called? That the one pager, and incorporate all the notes and just kind of finalize that so we can get that out with a Google form. So I'll try to incorporate everybody's notes, cut it down, and then we'll just send out a final draft and say if there's anything big, that you guys think is missing, that's fine. But then we'll just close it off to edits because I think it's almost there. And I'll incorporate the new token engineering language, the token engineering commons language, which is kind of just like reincorporating some of the stuff that we had from the previous version.
Yeah.
Is that this document you're talking about, Abby? The Common Stack overview, or a separate document?
The Common Stack overview, the one that we've all been editing.
Okay, cool. I have been trying to, what word am I looking for? Align the presentation with that overview doc. So once we have that a little bit more firmed up, I'll go through and make sure that the presentation flow follows the same flow as the document, and all of the same points are accentuated in the same order, so that it's not confusing if people read the document and the slideshow and kind of get things coming from a different angle.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make an all call on. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I'm gonna.
I was just gonna say I'm also cracking away on the FAQ. I know, it's so bad.
The delay, and we're in the same room. That's the fucked up thing. There's like a 5-second delay. But so yeah, and so Jeff's leading the FAQ, and I'm gonna go in there and try to answer a lot of questions. But I think we should all kind of like really corral everyone around the FAQ as like a place to really like dive in. Advisors, everyone, if you have questions, you put it there. And then we just all try to answer the questions the best that we can.
It's really helped so far, just in the few conversations I've had about this stuff, because it's kind of makes you realize that there are sort of larger components of this that we need to explain. And then within that, so I think once we get all these questions collected, we can organize them into the segment they belong and just flesh out the details in the narrative to answer as many of those questions as possible up front.
I'm going to write up a roadmap summary of the different stages of if we raise 1 million, we can do this, 2 million, we can do this, 3 million, if we can do this. I really need to send an email to Luis and Jorge with our documents for review. so before they can sign up for it. So yeah, that's another one. Let's see, and then is there anyone else? Anything else that we should make sure? Well, Jeff, you're working on the presentation, but also the Medium post, right?
Yep.
And then, actually, Abby, do you have anybody that you're trying to show, like that you have targets in New York? Because I'm like amazed you have any time to do anything with all the craziness that's happening in New York right now.
I kind of do, but I'm kind of like more so just like I'm actually not that crazy. Yesterday was super busy, but today and tomorrow I'm not really that busy because I'm not going to any crazy events. I'm just trying to meet with people one-off. So I have time to do stuff, and I also need to work because I didn't work yesterday or the day before because I was just networking and stuff. So I have time, and I want to get together this one pager later this afternoon, so we can at least have that by the end of the day, and then put some time into. I have a second version of the pitch deck going that I might just keep riffing on and then send to you guys, and you can integrate where you want. But I'm just trying to like flow state with it for a bit, you know, and just kind of like really think on like how we want to communicate all of this information and in like what way.
I mean, is it possible to share it as a viewable doc and not a comment or even just a read only, so that we can at least be yeah, just because Jeff's working on a presentation, just the presentation, so that we can kind of like
yeah, totally. I'll do that right when I get back home.
Okay.
Because I want to move into it quickly, and then I'll send it. I also can't find it in my tabs right now.
Yeah, that's fine. What about Amin? Are you gonna? Amin's there,
yeah,
right?
So Amin is the one big person that I was at the Moloch thing last night, but it was more of like a get together than like an actual work thing. But they were talking bonding curves, so I'm gonna try to get with Amin tomorrow, at least for an hour, just to talk about everything and see where his head is at. Because I know he's thinking about this, and I know that he wants to talk to me about it too. So Amin is someone I'm talking to. Probably gonna meet with Eden because I think Eden is in town, which will be great. I haven't met him, and I chatted with the Diorg folks, and I'm gonna see a bunch of people at ETH NY this weekend. So. Yeah, Zargum's been sending me people left and right, so I'm just kind of trying to meet with like whoever's in town. So if you guys know anybody else that you think I should meet, also we'll try to get with Simon and Lane too. Both of those are two that I'm trying to schedule and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely the networking is so valuable,
yeah,
being able to just shill back a little bit to all the influencers. So like, if you end up, it's a really good excuse to not finish stuff. Let me just throw that out.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
if you, it's a higher priority to talk to Lane, Amin, who else did he say? Well, already Kevin Iwaki, right? And all these guys. And now that we know we can do token engineering commons conversations, like, fuck, man. It's wild.
Yeah, definitely. I think that post this week, we'll do a recap and get a list of all these people and then kind of be like, hey, here's our documents. This is what we're doing. Token engineering commons. Like, what are your thoughts? How do you want to get involved? For people who we don't know will be able to contribute yet, but also just like Iwaki and like Amin and stuff like that. So yeah, we're good. I have to run because I have to actually run to a boxing class because I'm going to get a workout in before the rest of my work today. So nice. I will see you guys later, but just ping me if you have anything else, and we'll just be in touch.
Very good.
Okay.
Cool. Bye, guys.
I have to leave as well. See you guys.
Hey,
Baron. Good chat. Yeah. Into the governance meeting?
Yep.
Where is that exactly? Giveth dash DAC.
Yep. Giveth dash DAC.
All right. See you there.